What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the King Closer Reacts. I am the King Closer, and this is the series where I watch a bunch of videos and give you my take on whether I agree with it or disagree with it. Now, last week, you guys came in with a great idea. You want to have credits for whose videos I'm watching, and so now, moving forward, you'll be able to see those right down below in the description of each and every one of these videos. Let's get into our first video today.
There's tons of different scripts that I use and different wholesalers use. The number one thing that I use is, hey, Mr. Seller, I'll be honest with you, that's not going into my pocket. Our hard money lender pays for the property. You can see their end buyer name right there. They pay for the property. They take care of everything. And what I do just to give me a little bit of extra profit so I can put back into the company is I kind of estimate how much the rehab will be so that I'm covered on deal no matter what. Not anything wrong. It's just how we're able to stay profitable and make sure the deal goes fast. That's one way. Second way is going to be, hey, Mr. Seller, what had happened was on this deal, promise you I'm not trying to get over on you. That's the price that we agreed on. A partner actually wanted to come in on the deal. And they said they wanted to do this with me. And I charged them in order for them to go on this deal with me 50-50. I charged them around $55, whatever the assignment fee is. I had charged them the assignment fee to go on this deal with me. So me and that end buyer, we're going to be working together on this deal. I can assure you that, but it's not going to affect your purchase price at all.
All right, so Roy is talking about, what do you do if your seller sees your assignment fee? Well, one, if you are not going to disclose that you're wholesaling the property, one, make sure that your title company is doing a blind HUD. But two, you should just get into the practice of disclosing that you are going to wholesale, as more and more states are requiring this as part of the regulations that are coming down. It is going to become mandatory that we just have to get into the routine of saying, yep, I'm going to wholesale your property. Now, if for whatever reason you did not disclose, you don't do a blind HUD, and you end up in this situation where your seller is saying, hey, what the hell? Why are you making $15,000 on top of my price? You need to just walk them through what's taking place. And I do like the part where Roy was saying it does not impact what the price that you and I agreed upon whatsoever. And this is what I'm doing. I brought this deal to an end buyer. They're willing to purchase this. You knew that I was going to be flipping the house. Kind of find out, I actually just flipped the house before I even purchased it. And I'm going to be making $15,000 by bringing this to a local end buyer or a landlord or whatever the exit strategy is on that deal. But best practice, let's just get in the routine of transparently disclosing that before it gets to this point.
Let's be real for a second. Wholesaling real estate used to be simple. Not easy, but simple. You'd put a list, you'd hit the phones, you'd talk to sellers, and you go close the deal. That's how I got started. No CRM, no fancy tools, just me, my phone, and a Google Sheet. How to find and talk to motivated sellers, how to comp a deal the right way, how to build a buyer's list, not just emails, and how to create a simple system that actually gets results. No distractions, no theories, just what works. I know there's a lot of noise out there, but if you're tired of the gimmicks and you're tired of being overwhelmed and you just want someone to break it down for you simply, this course is going to give you exactly what you need to build a real wholesaling business from the ground up. Wholesaling real estate.
All right, so it looks like Max has decided to come back into the wholesaling industry after a 4 to 5 year retirement tour over in Dubai. Now, he claims that wholesaling used to be simple, not easy. I don't know what he means by used to be. It's only gotten more simple now in 2025 and moving into 2026. Case in point, he's talking about pulling a list and cold calling on Google Sheets back in the day. Now lead generation is simple as someone else is already doing the work for us and we can just go purchase the leads. That's gotten easier. Now pulling lists and skip tracing and cold calling is what we used to have to do for dispositions. Right? We could scrape Facebook groups and posts and try to get their emails and whatnot. But in the majority of areas where there weren't massive Facebook groups, we were pulling those lists and mining for these buyers. Now we have disposition softwares that tell us exactly who the end buyer is and gives us their contact information. And so from that perspective, wholesaling has only gotten more and more simple I don't really know what he's talking about. Sounds to me like he's just trying to pitch his course there. And I get it. We all have those types of videos. But let's just talk about where we are today and how much better of a position as an industry we are in comparison to 5-6 years ago.
What would Gary Vee do to sell a house?
If I was starting from zero and I was who I was in 2006, before anybody knew who I was, I would follow everything I just said on stage in this interview. Tomorrow, if I was able to get my first listing, I would make 50 to 100 pieces of social media content and post them organically with no followers, unlike the last 10 years. These last 2 years, you can have no followers and get people to find you and see you. I could literally not have a TikTok account, download TikTok, make a video about my listing, and actually get 10,000 views. That is a phenomenon. That has not happened since early Facebook fan pages in 2010. It has been a long time where somebody who's watching right now has not started, and their first video can actually create a huge impact. So that's what I would do.
Couldn't agree more. We just did a video a couple weeks ago about Garen Castle inside of Titanium University, where he talked about how he made $75,000 assignment fee. And the reason why he was able to close that deal is because when the sellers Googled his name, they saw his organic social media content and realized he was legitimate and real. And that's why they decided to sign the contract with him. And then he was able to sign that deal for $75,000 profit. The power of posting on social media is bigger than the amount of followers and views you get. It's also about the credibility that you bring to your potential customers, whether it's sellers, in buyers, whoever it is. Creating this kind of content has been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And if you're on the fence of whether or not you should do it, I can promise you, if you're not doing social media content, you're leaving money on the table.
How do you solve creative seller problems when wholesaling real estate? As a wholesaler, the deals that you're doing are off market, and generally there's a reason they're off market, whether the house is distressed or the person is distressed. You're going to be diving into a world of seller problems that usually require creative solutions that typical methods like an agent or on market can't usually solve, whether that's personality problems or money problems. It's your responsibility to solve those problems, whether that's they need an advance of money, they need help doing something. It's going to be a little bit risky sometimes, but you need to be willing to solve those problems for the seller in order to get these deals done, guys. If you want more tips and tricks, like and follow for more.
Okay, let's just clear something up real quick. Never give a seller money up front. Do not ever give a seller an advance of money. That is the quickest way to never see money ever again. Okay, now closing on a deal and having a lease back where you're holding money in an escrow and solving their problem that way, that's a solution. Because there's contracts in place, there's money being held back, and that's how you protect yourself, but don't ever advance the seller money. Now, this whole, because I talk about this all the time, right? We have to solve the seller's problem. However, this narrative in which it has to be creative, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. The majority of our wholesale transactions are just cash transactions. It's more about making sure that you hear the seller, understand what their needs are, and solve it. And what I mean by that is there are times where I hear the closer say, I could close this deal in less than 30 days. I could close this deal in less than 10 days. And the issue is you haven't asked the seller, you haven't found out what their timeline need was. See, we just closed a deal in Missouri where the seller's need was actually she needed 120 days. She didn't need us to close quick. She needed us to close when she was ready. And so that's where I think the solving a seller's problem comes in. It doesn't have to be creative. It just has to be we understand what they need from us and we solve that problem by buying their real estate.
Check it out. If you're just not waking up, you already late and you already disqualified. Most wholesalers don't fail because of contracts. You fail because your pipeline is dry. It's dry as a cactus. No system, no leads, no business. Obsidian Op is the new standard. You need Obsidian Op now. Get in my DMs now. Let's do it.
I like her. She got some spunk right there. Listen, I agree. Majority of wholesalers that are struggling, when I ask them how many leads do you have, it's not enough. It's not. They're not taking it serious. And I'll use an example today. I was having a one-on-one, which I do that with every Titanium University member. I give them access to my calendar and they can schedule a one-on-one with me and Cassie and Nick. And the TU member that I was meeting today, they've been inside the university for 90 days. They had had 110 conversations. Well, from those 110 conversations, they had gotten 8 contracts, but only 3 had made it to the closing table. And it's funny because they were buying the cheaper coupon club leads. And I was like, okay, so what we learned here is that out of the 110 conversations that you've had, you got 8 contracts. You should have only gotten 4. And they were like, well, we got 8. I was like, that probably means you locked up 4 you shouldn't have. That's why you had as many terminations, right? You learned that. You should have embraced being a buyer, competent, underwritten better. Out of the 4 that you should have gotten, 3 closed. That's the metric. 70% of the contracts that we get should make it to the closing table. So they were right there. They wanted to know, like, financially, why aren't we doing better? It's because they didn't have enough leads, right? Only 110 conversations in 90 days. That's not enough, right? She's absolutely right. You got to have that pipeline built up. You have to have enough conversations going on. So over the course of the next 6 months, we're closing deals in January from the leads that we bought in October and November and December. And it's a never-ending faucet. Lead generation has to always be on. If you stop, your business is going to stop. I like her. All right, guys. That's our episode of The King Closer Reacts. Hope you enjoyed it. And like I said at the beginning, the credits for each one of those videos is now in the description right below us. Show me some love, like today's video. We'll see you guys tomorrow.